Today in the crypto space, we see the market still kind of going sideways, Bitcoin taking a bit of a dip down approximately 1.5%, and Ethereum still hovering around that $1,800 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, a mix of green and red throughout the market, Solana looking pretty good, Rune looking pretty good, and of course there are some dips. Look at Gallop. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has yet to pop off and it could be due, and that project is called Taraxa. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of this volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, join the Discord, guys. The Discord is a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, learning material, and all that good stuff. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin going sideways Bitcoin. That's what we have been experiencing for the last little while, guys. Many of us are looking at this as a potential Bart Simpson retracement back down to lower levels. Very possible here, or continuation to the upside, obviously, given that we are in a bullish trend, in a little bit of a trend here to the upside. It could be that we do experience a bit of a pop and continuation. So we got to look at the odds right here. Bitcoin obviously is in a scenario here, and of course, if we're going to use statistics, we're just going to use a probability here to come up with a stance, a thesis. What is the probability of going bullish? What is the probability of a bit of a dip? And of course, we'll take a look at Bitcoin. But more importantly, guys, today's video is all about Taraxa. Taraxa has been a really good performer in the past, but it has been going sideways just recently. And we see a lot of accumulation potentially happening here. And as we see altcoins pop to the upside, the reality is, big picture, Taraxa didn't even move. So do we have an opportunity here to see Terra pop to the upside in the immediate short term? But before we get into Bitcoin and Terra, let's look at this general market first to get a bit of an idea of what the market has been up to. XRP up 4%. We have Solana up 6%. So these two are definitely looking good. While you can see the rest of the market is kind of flat and, not really doing much, not really giving us an indication that we want to continue. Maybe an altcoin season, maybe not. This is the thing here, guys. Personally speaking, I would say that the time to take risk has passed. Now, getting into altcoins, of course, some of them haven't moved yet. And of course, if we get an altcoin season, we're going to see a massive scenario where we see altcoins run. But Bitcoin right now could be hitting a wall. And if Bitcoin hits that wall and Bitcoin does roll over, you're going to expect the altcoins to come down as well. And we could potentially hit a good level of support to get that pop, to get a good altcoin season started. However, guys, this is the issue, is a lot of us look at altcoins right now and look at the altcoins that haven't moved. However, we have to understand where Bitcoin's position is. Bitcoin has ran up significantly, and it's due for Bitcoin to take a bit of a dip. Now, it doesn't mean that it has to come down heavy. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means, it's got to get into a consolidation. Consolidation means that it's going to make a range. It could be a tight range. It could be a wide range. Whatever the range is, Bitcoin needs to go range bound while altcoins get their season. But to create that bottom of the range that Bitcoin could create, we're going to have to see a bit of a dip. That's the reality. When you're going in a range, you need tops and bottoms. And in order to get a bottom here, we need to see Bitcoin retrace a little bit and then form its structure. Once it forms the structure, we're going to see Bitcoin, or altcoins in this matter, actually potentially get a season. Obviously, we're trying to stay one step ahead here, but so far, I'm still anticipating that Bitcoin needs to show us a range, and within building that range, altcoins could take a bit of a hit. So that's why we're watching out here for some of these good gainers. Take those profits, guys. We've seen many in the last 24 hours come down a little bit. For example, JoyStream ran up yesterday. I took lots of profit. I made that very clear on the Discord, taking profit throughout the entire all my bags yesterday in anticipation for a bit of a retracement. Okay, so we got a little bit of red, nothing crazy. Some of the altcoins did pull back, but you can see they're pretty much going sideways. Even AVAX is up 2%, which is good. What else do we have here? Cosmos up 4%. Bit of a dip here on ICP. It ran up pretty good too, but a little bit of a dip. Nothing crazy throughout the market. VeChain kind of going sideways. Quant going a bit sideways. Maybe the hang time. Maybe we do roll over, but you can see that Bitcoin, based on what's happening in the short term with Bitcoin, it does look like maybe Bitcoin might be looking for that rollover as well. So let's keep an eye on it. Let's keep an eye on the altcoin market. Of course, if you're up significant in double-digit gains, look at Injective. 31% to the upside, 32% to the upside, going sideways. Are you going to take the chance that it's going to basically come down? And if that's the case, guys, at least put a stop loss so you can protect some of those gains. If you're up 30%, guys, those are great gains to be had. You have Caspa taking a bit of a dip in the immediate short term, only down 4%, give or take. But Caspa hasn't been doing it for me, and I've been very vocal about it. You know, I like Caspa's fundamentals, but I don't like its price, and I don't like where it's at. Meaning it ran up very heavy and it got rejected a couple of times. The Bitcoin market is really overheated right now. Caspa has been overheated and it's at resistance. And personally speaking, I rather take risk on an altcoin that hasn't run up. And this is why today I'm going to be talking about Taraxa. You know, that Taraxa narrative and the Caspa narrative, both of those guys basically doing their thing, going at each other. It leads me to believe that maybe Taraxa is going to have its moment. So we'll take a look at Taraxa in just a second. What else do we have here? The graph looking pretty good. Render coming down just a little bit, but render has been spectacular, pretty much 100% from its bottom. You know, I didn't get back in. It's okay, I'm fine with that. I didn't get back in at that bottom. I took a good amount of profit. Now, in fact, you know, that profit taking scenario you know, is being tested at this moment, which is totally fine with me because I was able to scale out of render and get into many other projects that did very well for me as well. So I'm okay with what's happening. Render, I'll be buying the dips if we get back down, and if we see the market, you know, a little bit red, I'll be interested once again. I wouldn't mind seeing render back at $1.50 to $1.20. If it happens, I'm interested. If it doesn't, you know, I'm gonna wait for momentum to give me the signal. If momentum, you know, bottoms out at at $2, so be it. I'll get back in at $2. No big deal. Algorand looking pretty good. Algo pretty good. 6% to the upside. Waking up finally getting a bit of proof of life here on this altcoin. You know, of course, these layer ones have been bleeding out, holding desperately that support level, their support levels at the bottom, and finally getting a bit of a wake-up call. Thorchain 10% looking pretty good. We have some good altcoins popping up, and then we do have 13% for Rollbit. Oh, nice double top maybe. Be careful here if you're in Rollbit. It could be hitting a bit of a wall in the immediate short term, and you could see that there are some good gainers, there are some good dips, but not really, to be honest. I think the lower caps are dipping a bit harder in the immediate short term, but nonetheless, guys, this market's pretty sideways, not really active. There are some good gainers as we spoke about, but generally speaking, we are going to have to wait for Bitcoin to give us a signal. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin by looking at Bitcoin. What's happening here with Bitcoin? Bitcoin obviously going into the sideways consolidation. This is the daily chart, not giving us much data. However, guys, if we zoom out and we look at what Bitcoin did in the last little while, guys, Bitcoin did very, very well. It hit a great level. It got another impulsive move to the upside. Now the question is, are we due for a correction? Are we due for a bigger corrective move to the downside, or maybe an impulsive move such as this one, where we get an impulse, corrective, another impulse, and then maybe we could potentially buy at lower levels? Guys, I'm not saying that we're going to get into a bear market again, but what I am saying, it would be absolutely healthy to see Bitcoin come down and test some lower levels to confirm this low as the absolute low, right? That's the issue here, guys. If you want the bulls to actually come out and play, and to see some real capital being deployed, you're going to have to get a confirmation low, right? You're going to have to get that confirmation low. And I believe that even now that we're in a different league with TradFi, big suits involved nowadays, it could be, you know, in the works to see a bit of a manipulation to come down and allow them to fill bags at absolute bottom prices. So I'm not saying that it's going to happen. What I am saying with 100% of certainty is ensure that you have a bit of capital just in case. That is for certain. Each trader out there, protect your gains. Number one, of course, risk is public enemy number two. But number two, what you really need to do is ensure you have capital on the side, cash on the side, ready to go just in case something happens where we can get in on a fire sale. Because Bitcoin right now did a very good job. Obviously, I'm looking at this consolidation. I'm looking at the potential reversal that could be happening here. Look at the volume into this move is not very, it's not much there, not a lot of volume. However, guys, we did get the move. So let's see what's going on here. We hit a bit of resistance, okay, a little bit. We have these lows right here that we got to watch out for because they are, zones of potential resistance. But what I am looking at mostly is the local price action, right? The daily right now is still looking okay. Let's look at the momentum. We're looking okay. We could get another impulsive move. We can get another, spike to the upside. The EMAs are nice and green, facing up EMAs, and the RSI is definitely overbought. That's something to, be careful about because if you get into a long position right now, you got to be in and you got to get out, right? It's got to be a scalp. It's got to be a quick move. However, guys, the bias when you're in overbought and you see the MACD looking like this and you see the volume contract and you see what we see on the lower time frames, it leads me to believe that it's better to be safe than sorry, and I would be entertaining short positions rather than longs at the current moment. Even if we get another higher high, it's okay. I would be still looking at entertaining, building my thesis on a short, and I'll show you why. And it doesn't even mean that you have to short. It just means to prepare to buy the dip because it looks like we could fall. And I'm just giving you a quick update with my thesis here in the last little while. We've been hitting this thick white line that I put in here a couple days ago perfectly, hitting it, and that basically is outlining the fact that we basically are confirming a lower high as a follow through price action, given the fact that we did get bearish divergence here, higher highs on the price action, and at the same level lower lows on the RSI, and we have yet to invalidate any of this bearish divergence. In fact, if you still look at it, we got a bit of a lower high here, even if you look at it as a double top, which it's not. There's still class B bearish divergence forming. There's class A that's still valid. There's a lot of suggestion that we could be double topping here and eventually falling through this volume gap, as can be seen, hitting about 32,000, which is the previous breakout point. Would then classify this as a fake out, okay, from that bigger breakout out of the $32,000 range, which kind of makes sense because the reality is that breakout out of the 32 was a short squeeze. Very clearly was a short squeeze. You can see that the amount of volume on the daily into that move was very, very low, and it popped up based on one or two major buys that caused the price to rise enough to get people liquidated, and then we got that pop. So what I'm really looking at and then in the immediate short term is, look, if we make that higher high, great. Stop losses in, be careful. If we do roll over and we get this bearish divergence, actually following through, I'm looking at TPing right about 32, right around this zone. Of course, I'm going to be waiting for momentum on the 4 hour to completely bottom out, and then I'm interested. The only thing that's faking me out right now is this MACD, but you can see, look what's happening here. This total indecision, wobbly. I don't like it. So you know what? I'm still keeping with my thesis that we could eventually get a fake out here and roll back down and get into the bearish control zone. Guys, I'm not a bear, but I'm ready to buy those dips. All right, guys. Let's take a look at Taraxa, the project for today, looking really pretty, looking like it could be setting up for a good opportunity. Guys, it's been planking. It's been doing nothing. So what are you waiting for? At the end of the day, what are you waiting for? You got confirmations, you got higher lows, which is great. You got a good entry here on the daily. If you look at the daily, wait for divergence. We waited for a bit of divergence, and here we are. We're pretty much looking for a potential pop here out of this W formation, right? So if you look right here and here, we got stuck in the chop zone. And you can see that the momentum is slowly building. We're slowly potentially making that pivot point. Now, I just want to bring it to your attention that Taraxa right now is in the chop zone on the daily, and what could mean is that eventually, once this is resolved as a maybe a bull flag or a bear flag or just a continuation pattern, it could be that we get oversold once again. And this is why I have that thick, big yellow box right down here, because if we do break down and get oversold, guys, it's likely that we come down to these levels and test. However, right now is not a bad time to take a bit of risk, because at the end of the day, we saw a lot of altcoins rally, especially even out of this sideways consolidation on the daily, going sideways in the momentum. So it could be possible that we do get a bounce out of the zone, but I wouldn't be doing it based on the daily. The daily's not giving you an edge. We're stuck in the chop zone. We see a bit of confusion here on the MACD. I would like to stick with the 4 hour. And even the 4 hour, guys, it's unfortunate. The 4 hour is still in the chop zone as well. So you can see that this price action right now is kind of consolidating. The Bollinger Bands are probably as squeezed as they could ever. And now the question is, are we going up or are we going down? And this is the issue, is there's no real edge. The only edge that we got for a short is the fact that we can get oversold, and the fact for a long position is that the rest of the market is looking really strong and bullish. And in this case, you would have to basically understand that this would be your invalidation, the previous low. You would have to get in with the stop loss underneath these previous lows and get your entry as close as possible to these previous lows. That way your risk risk to reward ratio is nice and healthy, and that way if we do get that pop to the upside, I would be quick to take profits right around this zone, which is the golden pocket 618 at about 0.0075, right around the zone, and call it a day. A bit of a pop, come right up, take profits, and see how high we can go if we get overbought once again. Of course, with those convictions, with those signals, you get in with a bit of confidence, right? So I see the golden pocket here. I see the momentum going sideways. I see the MACD a little bit indecisive, downward sloping here. EMA is facing up a little bit, indecisive, but still within a nice consolidation, with the point of control being built, with a fat amount of volume here, supply and demand here to act as future support. If we pop up, it's very likely that we come back down, test this for support, and maybe continue. So I kind of like to see this overall, but obviously, guys, I would be a lot more bullish if I were to see this momentum, the RSI on the daily, fully oversold. That's what's the risk right now. The risk that you're taking going into a long is that we get oversold, and the risk that you're taking not going long, in this case opportunity, is what you're risking. The opportunity that this is a nice double bottom, and the fact is that we're consolidating because we are accumulating in anticipation of a nice bounce to the upside. Now a bigger question is Bitcoin done? Is Bitcoin going to come down for that retracement? This is why I covered Bitcoin. I cover Bitcoin before I talk about any altcoins, is because a big part of my strategy is to follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin dips, the likelihood of seeing altcoins dip, it becomes a lot higher, and we could see a lot of altcoins even absorb that dip and go sideways. But Taraxa, as it is, if the market is done and it rolls over and Bitcoin rolls over, we're going to see Taraxa in fact get oversold. And this sideways consolidation is not a sign of strength. In fact, it's a sign of weakness, because it wasn't able to actually go bullish when it was meant to go bullish, which is when the entire market right now is reaching for higher levels. Taraxa is going sideways. So guys, we got to keep this in mind. At the end of the day, this is nice. It looks like a continuation pattern. It does look like it's building a nice level of support, but we definitely got to put that stop loss underneath here. Now let's get into lower time frames quickly on the 4 hour. Again, in the chop zone, MACD, EMA facing up. Green histogram bars are pretty much, we're looking for that rollover to the downside. The volume is still going sideways and basically diminishing, and the price action is stagnant, not really doing much. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. If I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. And of course, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Guys, if you want to follow me on the Discord, go join the Discord, guys. It's a great community. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and all that good stuff. Guys, I'll see you tonight, 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.